matches maybe look a little bit easier here for Giants, but you can see Fnatic already targeting bans directly at them. We know Ruin's Rumble has been devastatingly good for the teams he's played against, and of course, the Nocturne taking that away from Djoko makes so he doesn't have that guaranteed kill gank when he hits level 6.
So now that you brought Rekkles back into the team, you have to target ban him. I'm looking for the Janna ban, I'm looking for the Karma ban, the two things he's played in the LCS.
Okay.
They're really good, you know.
Don't pick Janna. Don't do it, Fnatic. Don't do it to me.
Bring back Funnel.
No, all of these ideas are terrible.
Okay.
Get them out of your mind.
Okay,
but right now, I'm looking at these jungle bans on the blue side from Fnatic. That is something you definitely don't usually see. I mean, it would all get thrown out of the window if they locked in Pyke, but I feel like if Fnatic are putting Rekkles on an AD carry that's not the Tristana, even if it was the Tristana, they're looking for later stages of the game. You want to get some items underneath your belt, but I'd also be excited to see a Fnatic that's willing to play through the early game, even after subbing Rekkles into the roster.
And the early game has been their strength for the majority of this split, so giving Hylissang a roaming champion is what they've done so well.
I have to, remind everyone that the last time these two teams played, Sir Nuxalot was playing Zyra, and I've been informed that Zyra will be hovered in every role because he died 9 times in that matchup against Caps. And
Djoko knows what's up.
Yeah.
Offers the Janna.
I like Giants are keeping it light, of course. Janna, highly contested pick with Rekkles in the lineup. But Giants are going to go with the Tahm Kench. He doesn't play that.
No, what a shame. What a shame. Okay, let's bring it back to seriousness. We've had our jokes. Rekkles is back in. That's amazing for Fnatic if he can perform. And the reason we think he's going to be able to perform is the fact that AD carries are back at the top of the meta. A lot of AD carry itemization changes. Fnatic looking for an AD carry of a...
There we go.
I mean, it's an AD carry, but it's Ezreal. And
hey, I'm excited for Ezreal too, especially when you have a Pyke at your side. Ezreal, he's there to clear waves, stay safe. Let's go! Another one!
I saw you, Perks. I saw you come styling on my turf. I'm here.
Okay, this is great, because at the start of the day, we thought Akali was going to have a super high presence, pick bans all over the place. That didn't happen in our first 2 games, but now our 2 best mid laners in the league are picking it back to back. I can't wait, man.
Okay, we have to see what matchup it goes into, because we don't know if this Ryze is mid. It's probably mid. It could go up towards the top lane as well. They've locked in the Jhin, which means it's not going down towards that bottom side. But even picking something like Jhin into an Akali is a very brave move, considering she can dive onto you pretty easily.
That being said, with the Hail of Blades, Jhin moves so fast. He's got some protection with the Tahm Kench as well. Just interesting to see that the bottom sides of the map have been decided so early. Even with a lot of jungle bans thrown around, Giants didn't feel the need to pick something up early here for Djoko. With a Kindred ban and a Sejuani ban, I'm feeling like they're looking for something early on, like a Trundle pick here for Djoko. Get him a safe jungler and save counter pick for Ruin.
Camille is there as well, so you could pick Camille and it leaves that flexibility up. If you want to play it in the top lane, you can. You could pick it early on this first pick on the second rotation. Fnatic deciding what they want to ban next here.
Of course, going to be the Poppy, take that one away from Ruin, because right now Giants lack reliable engage too. I feel like something like the Gragas we saw utilized in the last game would round out this composition a little bit better, but I think if you're looking for Djoko, it has to be Trundle. He's the best available jungler at the moment, and unless Broxah was going to go for some like damage-oriented jungler, probably not going to see that.
It's a good sport about it. Didn't have the best of performances last time he was there. It's not going to be an AD carry for him either. We're looking towards the top, and the jungle doesn't really matter what order they're picked in here. One going to be picked, and then the second straight on afterwards.
See, we have a lot of questions about what this team looks like. Okay, Elise, another one of those champions that's been buffed in recent patches against the Trundle as well. This is one of the few junglers that can go toe-to-toe with him in a duel early on. You can't steal stats away from that Elise because she's building AP.
And I cast Broxah in the Challenger Series last year on Fnatic Academy when they got promoted and became Mysterious Monkeys. His Elise is godly. Like, it's next tier good. He mained this champion for a very long time. Very much looking forward to seeing how he combines with Hylissang on the Pyke and with Caps on that Akali, roaming around the map, making those coordinated plays. We have the Ornn for Bwipo in the top lane, and Giants looking for their top laner as well.
I mean, Giants have counter pick. I think Kled, they're hovering right now. I think it's the best pick for them at the moment. Great matchup into the Ornn. You can shred down his stats, and it brings that heavy engage to the table. Of course, we did mention the Gragas earlier on. The Kled, not as much in the wheelhouse of Ruin. I feel like the Gragas will fit that role and give them the tools to start off a fight. But even then, I look at the side of Fnatic, there's some very mobile champions here. It's going to be difficult to make those abilities land true here on the side of Giants.
So we're looking at high mobility from Fnatic, maybe a bit of team fight, maybe a bit of pick in the early game as well with the roaming from the Pyke, from the Elise.
It's definitely about pick here for Fnatic, splitting up fights, finding small engagements, some skirmishes here where not just the Akali can shine, but also the Pyke. When he finds himself in a 1v or in a 2v2 or a 3v3, that's exactly the type of scenario he wants to be in, where he can dish out a lot of damage. Whereas the side of Giants, they've drafted more of a standard composition. They can scale a little bit better into the later stages of the game. They've got a beefy front line. They've got a Tahm Kench to protect their 2 carries. I'm even about the late game Kings a lot, but Giants, I feel like if they don't fall drastically behind early on, are going to be looking at a stronger late game 5 versus 5 than the side of Fnatic.
The question is, can you maintain against a team that is built to play the early game well? A team that has things like the Pyke, like the Elise, like the Akali. A team that has Rekkles back on its lineup.
And I mean, Rekkles, I'm excited to see him play. But I'm more excited to see Caps on the Akali, especially the way this composition has been built here for Fnatic. Broxah and Hylissang, I feel like you're going to be mid lane 24/7, looking for roams, looking for plays, trying to shut down Betsy. There's been a big carry force on the side of Giants in their recent wins.
Let's jump onto the Summoner's Rift. Some old faces returning to the Summoner's Rift for this game. Fnatic taking on Giants. Fnatic well in contention for that #1 spot after seeing Misfits almost falter earlier on. They will feel like they are the best team in Europe. The question is, are they the best team in Europe now that Rekkles is back? 2-time reigning EU LCS MVP, 3-time EU LCS champion, 5 pentakills in the EU LCS, and that doesn't count the first pentakill he got in spring finals, because it wasn't technically a pentakill.
But he's still playing out of his mind. Of course, the crit marksman itemization coming back may be a factor in this, but also Rekkles is playing Ezreal, so he's not going to be building any of these items. So he is back, not because of the patch, he's back because he feels confident in himself once again. I think trying to work him back into the roster, even though Fnatic haven't been playing with him as much as they have with Bwipo in the bot lane and Soaz in the top lane, for the long term is going to pay off so much for Fnatic.
I mean, as much as, yes, he's not going to play a crit marksman this game, the fact that there were a lot of crit marksmen open to him definitely helped him come back into this team.
And you have to remember, he went over to Los Angeles for Rift Rivals. You broke it down very well with
talked to Mark Merrill, was like, ooh, mages.
Yeah, and Mark Merrill was like, no, get those out of here. We want marksmen. And Giants want an invade.
It would be invading straight into 3 members of Fnatic here. They put the ward down on the bush. The fight starts. Hylissang with the ghostly undertow. Djoko low, ignite down. Caps coming in from the side as well. Djoko has to flash, but Caps flashes away himself. Rekkles dishing out the DPS from that backline on the Ezreal. Summoner's burnt, Hylissang's ignite, Caps' flash, Nuxalot's flash, and Djoko's flash.
I feel like there was a very similar experience that happened to Giants when they played against Fnatic the last time. Sir Nuxalot lost his flash at level 1 when he was playing the Zyra, and then died a lot of times in a row when Caps was playing a very high agency carry style of champion, like the Akali in this game. So we'll have to keep our eyes out on that bottom lane matchup. Of course, Sir Nuxalot is much safer in this matchup, but again, Broxah. Oh no, man.
I told you he's just so good at Elise, you know?
Oh my god,
So
the Elise really played an impact there with the smite button. But yeah, this is what we're going to see out of this matchup from Broxah. Now's when I think Broxah can get a little greedy. After farming the Raptor camp, I think he goes topside, gets over for that second Scuttle Crab, because there's a nice ward that should spot out Djoko. Actually just times out, so he's not going to know exactly where he is on the map to try and find another fight.
Cap's struggling a little bit on this mid lane matchup already. Only at 2 CS to the 12 from Betsy. And we talked a little bit about the Ryze into Akali matchup, how when you get the Twilight Shroud on Akali, you can dodge away from the Ryze because everything he has is a skill shot. But if you fall behind, it can be difficult.
Yeah, especially when you don't have flash at level 1. Betsy's playing super aggro in this lane. I love to see it out of him trying to abuse this weak early game, weak laning champion that Caps went ahead and drafted for himself. And as I mentioned a bit in the draft, I think the key to this composition from Fnatic is how strong Caps can be. And right now, he's being put very far behind by Betsy's Ryze.
So we're looking at Broxah, 17-4 on Elise in the EU LCS. Has been long a stalwart champion for him. He's the guy that needs to set up Fnatic for success. Mid lane is really the key target as well, because Ezreal, Pyke, yeah, you can gank that lane. I guess onto the Steeelback, maybe Broxah could go down there, but getting your Akali ahead over getting your Ornn or your Ezreal ahead is so much more impactful.
Yeah, and specifically, we're going to look around the 7-minute mark. When the duo lanes go back for their first base, Hylissang has an opportunity to roam. That's when I think both Broxah and Hilly attack in that middle lane. But for now, I think Djoko's doing a really good job putting down deep vision, trying to contain Broxah's Elise at the moment. And you can see he plays a lot around this middle lane compared to other junglers in the EU LCS. He needs to buy space for Betsy so that Betsy can eventually, blossom into that carry that Giants need him to be.
Looking for the scaling on that Ryze. Jungle proximity is the amount of time between 3 and 15 minutes you spend near your laners. As you can see, he's 4% above average for mid lane, almost 5% above average for the bot lane, 4.4. And a little bit behind average for the top lane, but no one really goes top. It's a bit of an island, I've heard.
Yeah, Ruin is just left on his island up there. And the Gragas, you don't need resources, you don't need gold, you don't need monies, none of that. He's going to bring the utility to the fight. It's very similar to the Ornn in this case. If either jungler goes topside, it'd be very unlikely, but it would just be for a turret or something along those lines.
I mean, it can still work.
Sure.
Getting a kill on your Gragas isn't a bad thing.
I mean, I'll take a kill anytime. But I'd rather have
sacrifice
it on
something
caps.
for it? Depends what you give up.
I mean, if I just get something for free, like a kill, I'm going to take it.
Understandable. Understandable. 20 CS lead, though, for Betsy in the mid lane. At the moment, he is free farming. Hey, get it? That mid lane.
Nice.
Pushing away from Caps, who actually is really struggling to find an avenue into this fight.
He's down 23 CS, right?
It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit.
More than double. So
there's the roam you talk from Hylissang. And do you want to know the thing about roaming as a support? Doesn't work that well when the enemy laner isn't there.
But Betsy does have TP, and right now Caps is trying to hold the wave to sort of bait Betsy in for that teleport. Here comes the teleport. Hylissang isn't... Oh wait, he does go through with the recall.
Yep.
They didn't see the TP in the Fog of War. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a shame. Broxah now looking up towards the top side, maybe trying to get the Ornn ahead. We talked about a kill can help. They can dive Ruin here. No level 6. There's the call of the Forge God. And immediately Ruin stunned up. First blood to Bwipo in the top lane.
Yeah, so ganking top lane, fantastic strategy. You instantly get that kill. Great stuff out of Broxah. I do like it, though. Buy some tempo here for Fnatic. And Hylissang is still trying to find a play around this mid lane, but he might fight off a little bit more than he can chew, trying to get Djoko out of his jungle.
He does reset the Raptors, which slows Djoko down a little bit. It's very helpful, and this is one of the reasons you pick Ezreal for Rekkles. Easy wave clear down towards that bottom side. Very safe, very secure. That he knows Hylissang can just walk away for 10, 15 minutes and Rekkles won't care.
Yeah, we see different pairings with the Pyke, and it really comes down to the style of the player. Hylissang, who's a roamer, you want to pair that up with an Ezreal or a Heimerdinger, something that can clear away waves and be safe while Hylissang looks for plays around the map. The other lanes we see are Pyke Swain, where it's very much about chaining the CC, looking for kills, but that's never really been Fnatic style with Rekkles in the lineup. They play for later game, they don't need to take that many risks, whereas when Bwipo's in bot lane, it's very much about all-inning all the time. Sometimes that costs them, and that's why Rekkles has sort of stepped in here, as he said, to fill those weaknesses, play a more supportive role for the team, in this case, clear waves, and let Hylissang find those plays.
But the question is, Fnatic, we've only seen them win when they have an early game lead. Like, that's how they win games at the moment. So can they do the same if they have this later game AD carry?
I mean, I have to say yes. You look at Fnatic in the spring split, right? They were never about playing heavy for that early game. They were a team that was willing to go even, maybe even fall behind. They were just that good when it came to team fighting. Individual playmakers later on in the match, that was how they found a lot of their wins against tougher opposition.
In spring, maybe, but this split, when they've been behind at 10 minutes, it's happened 4 times they've been 500 gold or more behind, and they've lost 3 of those games. And that's only 500 gold. So yeah. I want to keep a track on that, because I actually think it's one of the big weaknesses in Fnatic's play. Maybe bringing Rekkles in has shored it up a little bit, but you never know what it's like to come back into a team in week 8 when there's a first place on the line and have to perform straight away.
Of course, they're trialing this out against Giants here, the team that wants to make that run to the playoffs, make that miracle run. I think for Giants especially, this is maybe a chance to attack a top team like Fnatic. They're trying things out, experimenting a little bit, bringing in a player that hasn't played for 7 weeks. there's ever a time to topple and sort of attack that team right at the top of the standings, it is definitely now for Giants.
Especially when you've just taken down Misfits last week as well. They've shown that those Giants can fall. And I probably shouldn't say Giants when I'm not referring to the team in this game. Titans.
Yes,
Misfits
Titans.
are Titans this game. But yeah, they've shown that they can defeat those top teams in Europe, and they will be looking to do that once again. Ender, you like talking about matchups.
Yeah.
Which matchup do you want to talk about?
Which
I'm going
matchup?
to give you free reign of the entire game, because we had one gank, right? And I've heard Djoko's an early ganker, I've heard Broxah's an early ganker, he's on Elise, maybe they should be fighting more. Hasn't happened that much. So while no ganks happen, and while a fight happens in the bottom lane, Rekkles has to flash away, Steeelback!
Oh!
Hella damage! Betsy falls in the mid lane as well, Caps with the 1v1 on Akali.
All right, it's all over the place. We can talk about all the matchups. So
all the matchups.
Mid lane, Caps gets that power spike at level 8. Doesn't matter if he's down 20 CS. If you catch out that Ryze, of course we'll see a replay. I'm sure you're going to find a kill, but now it's a 2v1 up top side. Fnatic will back away after missing the Ornn horn, but man, that was just all over the place. Where Fnatic, I mean, Caps, I need to see that again. I want to see more Akali in my life. The play we did see down bottom side, though, was started off by Hylissang looking for that engagement. Then Steeelback ruthlessly flashes forward to find that pick. And here it is one more time. Again, Steeelback, no fear, walks straight into the face of Rekkles. Rekkles has realized he made a horrible mistake.
Yeah.
And Steeelback, the former Fnatic player, takes him down. Meanwhile, mid, what actually happens here? He has to wait for the 3 seconds. And look, all of Betsy's spells were on cooldown after Caps cast R1. Betty has talked about it during the break in the last game. There's a 3-second delay before we get to cast it a second time. And with no cooldowns on the side, Betsy, he punishes. Now Fnatic are here for the drink.
Djoko has started it up. Giants are the ones to react quicker from the bottom side. Broxah, repel onto Blast Cone is the usual combination from an Elise in this situation. The Dragon does reset, but Giants will get it. And still relatively close in this game. Yes, Betsy died in the mid lane. You talked about R1 there. I'm just going to translate the playtester talk. First cast of the ultimate ability.
Of the
ultimate, there we go. And you also said, before we actually got into the replay, you talked about the level 8 power spike for an Akali.
Okay, so there's not really a level 8 power spike.
Okay.
That was more, he's level 8.
So he's strong.
He's no longer pre-level 6, where he's getting punished in lane by this Ryze.
That makes sense to me as well. I didn't know if there was some sort of really cool interaction that happened, but you were just picking words out of a hat. Broxah with the flash cocoon straight onto Betsy. Caps gets the kill. Teleport's coming in from Giants here. It's only Ruin, and he is not going to be able to save Djoko for that long. Djoko flashes back in. The explosive cast knocks him away. Broxah can't get the volatile spiraling close enough, but in the bottom lane, 2 members of Giants are dead. Rekkles says, you can kill me once, but I'm going to take both your lives next time.
Yeah, so we're never going to have one fight in isolation. There's going to be a fight in the mid lane at the same time one goes down bottom side. It all starts off with Fnatic playing around mid lane. That's what this game is all about for them. Put Caps as far ahead as you possibly can. And with that attention, even though he's falling behind in CS, the kills he's gaining are making up for that deficit. He is dead even in gold with Betsy.
Almost like that Hextech Gunblade now as well. That is a big power spike for the Akali. Let's have another look at this fight in the bot lane. Looks like it's Hylissang who sets it up.
Yeah, there's no flash on Steeelback, so he gets absolutely punished here. Now, Snookslot tries to escape him, but stays in the fight. Maybe they got a little bit overconfident after that last fight went down, and this is unfortunate as well, too. He tries to buy time running away there on the Tahm Kench, and then mid lane, it's the chain CC. Flash cocoon into the first cast of the ultimate there from Caps that also lands that CC. And then how does Djoko get out of this? Because the Q comes out from Djoko. He flashes through it
the Q. That's crazy.
to come and pick up the kill, and we're back in the mid lane.
Well, doesn't have flash, so yeah, Betsy's not in the best of spots.
Yeah.
It's a mid lane fight. We've seen this happen before. We saw it happen to Schalke, saw it happen to G2. Fnatic, when they get their teeth in your mid laner, they destroy you.
The funny thing is that Bwipo Soaz, we saw Soaz make that same play where he leaves top lane, sacrifices minions to the turret, roams mid, and gets the kill on the Ornn. Bwipo just did the exact same thing here in this game, and it makes me sort of feel like maybe there aren't as many differences between the two players as we initially thought. If they're making the same plays, making those same calls, Fnatic aren't going to be thrown off as much by switching around their players.
Not at all. 30 minutes in, it's a big lead for Fnatic. Not worried about that 10-minute sack. Betsy!
Okay.
Okay, yeah, Betsy, your night is done. 0-4-1 at 13 minutes. Maybe Giants will be able to get first tower down towards this bottom side. It's some sort of semblance of a win for them. And yeah, first tower, you know, that's the thing.
Giants need wards around mid lane, because those are 3-4 ganks in a row from Fnatic where they just walked through. There's no red vision anywhere to protect Betsy, who's flashless on this Ryze. That means there's no way to escape from the long-range engage. The Ornn, the Pyke can also jump on you from multiple screens away. Now they're finally trying to be a little bit proactive, but I think it's actually just wasted time here unless they can maybe move that into a top lane push, because that Tahm Kench ultimate should be used to try and gain tempo and knock down a turret, but instead they use it and immediately go for base.
Yeah, just retreat as soon as possible. We've talked so often about Giants on this miracle run. You know, they've won their last 2 games. They're really trying to challenge for that final playoff spot, but you have to remember who stands in their way. Fnatic, Schalke, G2, and Splice. They need to win all 4 of these games to have any real hope of making it into playoffs. I think it's about a 70% of scenarios where they would make it into at least a tiebreaker if they won all 4 of these games. But there's some pretty tough opposition left for Giants.
The odds are stacked against them, especially with this game right here. Oh no, Betsy has the flash this time.
Hooked out, Caps, waiting for the flash, has the Shuriken. Flip is available, but won't chase on to Betsy, and once again Fnatic will start up the Rift Herald. This is just good play all round from Fnatic. They haven't... The interesting thing is, right, we hyped up Rekkles. We were like, Rekkles coming back, amazing, amazing, amazing. They play Ezreal and they don't do anything with him because they have other carries on the team. They've got Caps, who has matured over this split. They have Bwipo, who can carry from the top lane as well if you need. They don't rely on Rekkles anymore, which is one of the big changes for Fnatic.
Yeah, as a team, the composition has been built to put all their resources into Caps, and Rekkles has had some good moments, right? They got the 2v2 kill down bottom lane. All the fights that have happened have been isolated in that 2 versus 2 matchup, but this is a guy that shouldn't get picked off. He's a veteran status. He should know where Giants are going to be on the map and sort of fit this role where he will scale up. He'll get his Tear of the Goddess, upgrade that into a Mirror Mana, then get his Jhin, his Iceborne Gauntlet, and fill the role his team needs. Because right now, they just need an AD carry that can pump out a little bit of damage. Caps is going to be taking the reins in this match and flying all over during these fights.
And Broxah is doing the same. He's building a lot of AP on this Elise, gone for the Runic Echoes into the Hex Tech Revolver. Expect to see a Proto Belt from him for the Cocoon dash forward combination.
Yeah.
And he would need one right now to dash away from this. Repel goes up, Hylissang up towards the top side of the fight as well. Rekkles is there, Broxah flashes, he's down. And Giants find a pick. That's exactly what they need. They need to stall, they need to get to those later game team fights, the 5v5s, where they are possibly stronger than Fnatic. Every time Betsy gets close to getting caught, you're like, ooh.
I seize up. I'm like, no, not again. I've seen this before 4 times this game, as a matter of fact, and Ruin will have to sacrifice the minion waves up top side because Fnatic are always using their mid lane control that Caps has been able to generate with the assistance of his allies to be able to roam around the map, put down some deep vision, and trade for a turret or some damage onto that one while Giants secure this Wind Drake on the bottom side.
Get themselves the Cloud alongside the Ocean. It's a steamy combination for them, but let's have a look at exactly how Broxah got caught out again.
So Elise is a relatively squishy champion, and Giants have actually really good pick tools, whether it's the Trundle pillar into the Jhin W, makes for a very easy way of picking off a member when they're not expecting 5 members of Giants sitting in a bush.
Don't usually expect that. Iceborne Gauntlet completed on Rekkles now as well, so he is pumping out the damage. The Rift Herald is used mid to get some damage on that first tower, took it out. A little bit of a chunk on the second as well. And across the board, everything just seems to be coming up Fnatic.
Yeah, it's going well for Fnatic, but we have to keep in mind, it's just a 2,500 gold lead for them. Towers are dead even. They've only got 1, so there's a lot of gold in theory for them on the map, but while they've been getting a lot of kills, they haven't converted that into too many objectives overall, and that's going to be sort of the next piece in the puzzle for them as they try to snowball this game and move it forward, because eventually we get to a point where the team fight probably doesn't go all that well for them.
I'm sorry, Ruin waited in that bush for so long and then messed up the body slam.
And I'm there. Oh, hello. With the body slam. Doesn't work out.
Surprise man from the bush, but yeah, it didn't work out for him at all. Caps in a position where he can just dodge it onto Betsy here. He does get imprisoned up, the Ignite down as well. Betsy trying to dodge around as much as he can, but look at the reset. Caps is so obscure. It's like an indie band. You probably never heard of him.
I have not. But Caps using that to dive under the tower, get the flash in mid lane.
Nukeslot will flash away with Djoko in his belly, gets him to safety.
Got some tools to keep safe, but here we go. Fnatic finally taking turrets.
It's 18 minutes in. I don't like. They're taking turrets. You should be happy.
So no, I am happy.
Okay.
I am happy for them. Just saying, it's taken them a long time. When you have 7 kills under your belt, the fact that you only have 2 towers at 18 minutes is a little bit slow. But they've got gold on the map to go ahead and pick up, which will eventually pay out.
Betsy has no flash here. Caps waiting for the perfect execution to come back up. That's the Akali ultimate, of course. And I've actually been pretty happy with our Akali plays that we've seen in the last couple of games. I want to see Caps dodging around fights a little bit more. I was talking with some of the other play-by-plays, and we were very worried that we wouldn't be able to track Akali that easily because she dodges around fights so much and then she goes invisible. But yeah, I think it's pretty clear where she is most of the time. Yeah. It does help that I can see where she is in the smoke. Probably a bit harder to play against.
That does make things a little bit easier for you. And I think if we look at the last game, Perkz was all about finding flanks on this Akali. It wasn't as much about the split push and the 1v1 kills as Caps is playing it. So we're sort of seeing a different style here on the Akali, and I want to keep seeing him in the side lane looking for dives with the Shroud. But I also am curious to see how he actually approaches a team fight. Is it, again, a flank, or is it just a dive in the top lane?
That's what they're looking to do. Bwipo gets knocked away, so does Hylissang. And Ruin keeps himself safe for the moment. Also wondering how the Akali's going to work as people get tankier. You've got 2 Abyssal Masks already on Giants. Djoko's going to get relatively tanky as well. He's got himself that Negatron cloak. And it becomes harder and harder to play against tanks. Perkz said it. Akali does not work against tanks.
Yeah, especially against Tahm Kench as well, who can save any of those squishy members, any of those prime targets here for that Akali. The way I sort of picture team fights working out for Fnatic is they either win really hard, really fast, or Caps lands a big ultimate, they get the wombo combo with Bwipo, and then Hylissang just ult, and they instantly blow everyone up. But if they don't actually make it work out that quickly for them, I feel like the sustained DPS of a Ryze and a Jhin is just going to overpower them in an elongated team fight.
You know who you need in that sort of situation if you're Fnatic?
Who do you need, Medic?
A marksman. An AD carry back from the beyond.
No.
If only they had.
Do you say?
Someone like that. Uzi. Yes, I mean Uzi.
Uzi.
They should bring Uzi. No. Obviously Rekkles on their team. Yeah, and he's gone double tier. So that was probably a little bit obscure on that joke as well. Rekkles gone the double tier build here, so he's just going to scale up on that. Ezreal gets so much damage from that, of course. Fnatic still playing for that first spot. Sitting at 10 and 4 would match Misfits with a win here. And it's... Throughout the split, they've kind of, at times, looked like one of the best teams in Europe, and at times looked like a team that didn't really know what they were doing, but at the moment, Rekkles needs to get away from this fight. Hylissang dodging away as well, blocked up Curtain Call. Will keep Rekkles alive. Once again, maybe underestimating the amount of damage that can come out from that Jhin.
Yeah, Rekkles getting real low right there. Unfortunately, Giants doesn't feel like there's much they can do unless it's a pick on Caps.
Ruin is just fighting against Caps, so he doesn't really care. Caps regenning that energy. Nukeslot dies in the mid lane. Call of the Forge God comes out as well. Ruin misses the body slam. Bwipo on the chase. Looking for Steeelback. Betsy from the side as well. 1 down. Caps gets a kill in the top side as well. And Fnatic find the fights they need. The skirmishes across the map.
Yeah, Ruin was almost winning that fight, but the sustain from the Akali came through the Gunblade on top of the built-in sustain there from that champion. Now Djoko, he's running all the way towards the bottom side of the map, and just 22 minutes in, Fnatic are starting up the Baron. There's no one here from the rest of Giants, and this would be devastating for them as they have to play against this early mid-game Fnatic comp with a Baron now.
Yeah, a comp that can 1-3-1 against you or even 1-4 against you, and a Baron buff. 23 minutes in, Fnatic get it. A 5,000 gold lead for them as well. They're in such a strong position to start looking to close out this game. You know what helps with taking down towers, Ender?
What helps?
Baron buff.
Oh, yes, it does. Now, this is the fight in the mid lane. There was the 1v1 duel going on at the same time, but while Steeelback flashes away, it doesn't leave much room for Nukeslot to react to that play. And, of course, the Call of the Forge God catches out a flashless Steeelback. Lets Hylissang do his thing. I hope we get to see that 1v1 up topside, too. Yeah, this is the exciting one. Or, I say exciting, it's Gragas versus Akali.
We don't get to see because Ruin's dead! He got caught out, teleport coming in as well, looking for the Call of the Forge Guard. Can get in from the flank, just comes off cooldown. Here we go, maybe a little bit too far away from the team. Hylissang, Bone Skewer hits onto Djoko, pulls him back. Gobbled up by Nukeslot, Akali on the flank. Here comes Caps, looking for that highlight play, looking for the montage at the end of the day. Doesn't actually need to engage, just dodges away with the Shuriken flip, pushing in this mid lane now. Fnatic trying to break the base at 23 minutes in. Secure their spot at the top of the EU LCS. Giants doing whatever they can to defend. The miracle may be over for them. Caps in the middle of the shroud. Djoko down, that's one. Caps can re-jump in if he needs to. Nukes a lot, nuked down, repel up, tower falls. And Fnatic continue to push in, 5 members strong. Ruin on his way, no explosive cast, but can always body slam in. Hylissang flash, bone skewer, Betsy flashes away. Caps cannot find the engage, inhibitor falls though. Fnatic are going to be able to escape.
Whoa!
Caps, what are you doing? Well, that's a little bit into Steeelback.
No. So Ruin gets out okay. Take a breather, Medic. That was pretty wild there. Fnatic recall inside the base of Giants, and well, I can't say anything about that play from Caps. I will say Fnatic's decision to stay on the siege, go for that inhibitor, was absolutely fantastic. They know they need to close this game out quickly. They used the Baron buff, and they know that Giants are just too far behind at the moment to contest. Ruin,
yeah,
he used the E over the wall, didn't know where the rest of Fnatic was, and then of course the rest of Giants were pushing up this middle lane. That left them quite out of position, and Djoko unfortunately gets tagged right here, flashes into the waiting arms of Sir Nukes-a-Lot, but it's all these spells being blown on the side of Giants that mean they can't really step up for that inhibitor, and we'll see that one more time. Oh, yeah. What?
He saw it happen. He was like, oh, montage, and then Steeelback just walks into the which I really don't understand. Yeah. Ruin does survive just at the end, could have been a double for Hylissang. But yeah, good stuff all around for Fnatic to take down the inhibitor. Giants will be licking their wounds a little bit. Hylissang actually doing what he's done before. We saw him do this against Misfits. On the Pyke, he doesn't think that you have that much impact when you're with the team in this sort of situation, in a split push situation. So what he does is he gets Baron and he just keeps the wave pushing in as much as he can.
Yeah, the thing is, it's so hard to actually punish him in a side lane. Fnatic are just going under the towers.
It's a massive engage, though. Perfect play from the Gragas. Broxah has to flash away. The curtain's open. Caps can jump onto the back line if he needs, but they can't quite take down Broxah. And Bwipo tanks up all the shots of the curtain call. Ruin came up absolutely huge for his team there, but they couldn't quite capitalize.
Fnatic, man, these guys just will not stop trying to dive underneath that tower. Ruin so much of that fight, going even, not resulting in another lost inhibitor, had to do with that re-engage from him on the Gragas, and they hold on a little bit longer. Time is what this team needs.
Time is working against them, though. 7,000 gold behind. You've got stacked up Mura Mana, Iceborne Gauntlet, Seraph stacking up as well. Looking towards the Blade of the Ruin King here for Rekkles. We'll see the replay here. Watch Ruin.
Oh, the 3-man cask with the body slam flash. You cannot play Gragas better than that.
He did a little dance at the end as well.
Yeah, a little scooch. That's the technical term.
A scoochy scooch.
A scoochy scooch.
You can tell that you went to dancing classes as a young man.
I actually did. When I was very, very young.
Yes.
I'm still young.
Yeah, you are. Like 20?
20.
It's very young.
Very, very young.
Fnatic.
So is this turret. Actually, no, this turret is not young.
Oh,
this turret's
been up. It's 26 minutes old. That's ancient for a turret.
Ages. For an outer turret, especially.
Yeah. Oh, it needed to be knocked down. The builders watching this game like, oh yeah, that's some construction money right there for us. Fnatic, though, just trying to construct a win out of this game against Giants. They've been pretty dominant after they got a lead relatively early on.
Another one!
The call of the Forge God. Ruin gets the knockback onto Caps, goes obscure though. Healing up with a Hextech ult, not Hextech, Gunblade, that's the one it was. Hylissang gets dived on though, he's down. Caps looking for the flank, jumps in, double micro stun into the Zhonyas. Ruin, the dodge away from Caps keeps him alive, but here come the curtains. Caps has to just dodge away from this if he can. One shot's gonna connect. Second does not. Djoko can't.
There we go.
Dive in from Caps once again, straight into the shroud. And now Ruin's running for the hills because Bwipo's on the chase. The Bellows read the double shut down. That's exactly what you need if you're Fnatic, but Bwipo pays for it with his life. Steeelback! Goodbye once again. Steeelback comes up trumps in the AD carry battle. Caps dodging away as much as he can, but Giants are on the chase into the Twilight Shroud once again, and you can see Giants somehow winning out these fights. There are super minions on their Nexus towers though, so they do have to deal with that before it takes down that turret.
Still though, Giants trading even in that fight off the back of Steeelback and Ruin finding those engagements. Tower going down, though. More bad news here for Giants as Fnatic continue to go for every single turret dive. There's no fear for this team when it comes to going underneath the turret. I really just want to watch Caps during this fight because on this Akali, he dips, dives in and out, buys so much time with the Shroud, even though Hylissang goes down at the start, because you can see he dives straight into the ultimate, uses the Zhonya's to buy time for the second cast the ult to get away, and then he dodges 3 out of 4 of these curtain call shots by just an inch, and then goes straight back in because he knows he can. He has the cooldown on the Shroud. That's what you're looking for on this Akali, is those cooldown windows. We can jump in, disengage with the Shroud, and then get out no problem.
Rekkles once again a little bit over-aggressive.
Yeah, Steeelback did really well at the end of that fight.
Did do a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
Got to give Rekkles credit here. He did a very good job there. But when I say that Akali's Giga broken, what I mean is the fact that you can Twilight Shroud twice in a fight and Zhonya's, and you're basically invulnerable.
And the more you go in and out of the Shroud, the longer the duration goes. It keeps extending.
You get more energy.
And you get more energy. It's crazy.
Giants still fighting in this matchup. The Ruin with the flank once again. Rekkles gets the Arcane Shift away. Just about escapes. Caps can get in there. Use the perfect execution, actually, so hasn't got that ultimate up for himself. Giants are still fighting this. Their inhibitors respawn. They're getting towards these 5v5 fights that we said they're so good at.
Yeah, Djoko stepping forward, looking to engage.
Bwipo's the one on the front line. Here's the call of the Forge God.
Caps isn't here.
Grouped up. Caps is not there, but Rekkles is, and he knows how to carry a team to victory. He takes out 2. He's looking for a third as well. Steeelback chasing onto Rekkles. Hylissang kills Betsy, but it's AD versus AD. Can't quite land the drowned gods, but this is a death knell for Giants. Rekkles and Hylissang come up huge.
That's what I'm saying. Fnatic are going to win a fight. It's win it fast with Hylissang getting those executes, getting the resets. Caps comes in at the end to finalize that fight. Fnatic go for the Nexus.
What a game from Fnatic. The return of Rekkles ends up in victory. And Fnatic are going to take top spot with Misfits at the top of the EU LCS table.
Smiles on the face of Rekkles. Got to feel good after that game. Had the one misstep at the start, but after that, it was all good stuff from him. Playing the role his team needed to, because the rest of Fnatic, so focused, had a very clear game plan, what they needed to do, how they were going to shut down Betsy. They put him out of the game, and that's really what Fnatic were able to use to snowball and pull off that win.
I hope we see a post-game breakdown, the graphic that we have after this game, because Rekkles did a lot of damage.
Oh,
I'm going to wait for it to come up before we talk about it. That was absolutely devastating from him. And commiserations, of course, to Giants. Fnatic are locked into playoffs after game 1 of the day, actually, after Splice beat Roccat, but they are even more securely locked into playoffs now as they get that win over Giants.
Yeah, of course, Cubes and Broxah exchanging kind words, former teammates, part of the same organization back on that Fnatic Academy days. Of course, Fnatic taking Giants' playoffs hopes out the window. The miracle run ends here for this team. Still mathematically possible for them to make playoffs, I believe, but so difficult. And it's because of the man returning to the stage, because of Rekkles.
30,000 damage, and on an Ezreal that, like, he had impact in the fights, but he's just pumping out the DPS. That final fight where he took out 2, jumped forward, got the damage on Steeelback, set it up perfectly for his team.
And I think there's another good situation where you can see how much value the Akali brings, because she dives into the backline and soaks so much time from your opposition. Your backliners can just freely hit them. Yeah, shooting out those mystic shots. No one's ever going to dive onto him, because all the mind share, the attention that Giants have has to be focused on this Akali that's diving into your backline and trying to assassinate you.
Let's have a look at some of Rekkles' highlights on his return.
This wasn't a highlight. This was a Steeelback moment.
Steeelback had a couple of those.
Yeah, no, it was good laning from them up until this point, because there's no flash after that fight. And then Hylissang after this turned into a bit of his game, because he was all over the map with this Pyke, consistently roaming into the mid lane after they got these couple of kills onto Sir Nukesalot and finding the advantages for Fnatic.
This is the fight that I was talking about, though, for Rekkles. Watch how he positions in this fight. after they managed to get the first kill, because it's all about him jumping forward and consistently putting out DPS.
Yeah, no one can touch him. He's all over Sanux's log, dives straight into the backline. Steeelback's trying to shoot out bullets from that ultimate. Rekkles says, nah, I'm happy to stick around here, right in the face of the enemy, and take home the victory.
Hylissang closes it out with a triple kill, and we did wonder... Oh, hello.
Hello there.
we did wonder how well Hylissang and Rekkles would combine after we saw how, Bwipo and Hylissang were really good. And it seems to be they combine pretty well, I'll be honest.
I mean, they've played together before.
That's true.
For longer than Hylissang's actually played with Bwipo, so.
That's true.
I should hope so. And there was that mistake right at the start, but I think that both of those players just really stood up as individual high performers. Rekkles in the team fights, Hylissang with the roams, all came together to make one perfect win for Fnatic.
Perfect harmony in the bottom lane. Now, this is a player of the game vote that is going to happen, and it's between Rekkles, Caps, and Hylissang at lolesports on Twitter. I say it's going to happen because I think we all know who's going to win. You can't beat a Pyke support if you're voting for player of the game, Hylissang.
You again with the support votes. You
though.
know Rekkles is going to win. 100% of the votes are going to Rekkles.
Caps played Akali though. So.
No, there's great reasons to give other people MVPs, but the fans, they know what they want.
That's true. After the break, it's time for a clash between Schalke 04 and Vitality, who are tied in the standings before tonight's showdown. But before we go to that, let's check in with Laura and Fnatic's AD carry.
Thank you very much, Medic, and congratulations, Rekkles, and also welcome back to the EU LCS.
Thank you so much.
You were saying that you were scared to come up on stage again, but now that you won, how do you feel?
I was really nervous for the game. It's been a while since I played anything serious, unless you count for the Earth game, which I don't at least. So it was a bit weird. It's nothing like solo queue, so it was very different from the usual stuff I've been doing this past 7 weeks. But at the same time, my team is really insane, so I didn't really have to do much. I just had to play safe when Hilly was off on his roams, and then for the team fight, I've done it for 7 years now, so it's nothing crazy. I could have played better in some fights, but I think for the majority of the game, I did what I had to do for us to win, so I'm pretty happy with my comeback, yeah.
Well, step by steps, I mean, and what would you say you learned about yourself during your time off?
I would say that if I had to do it all over again, I should have played from the get-go. I shouldn't have taken a break in the first place. Or if I were to take a break, I should have been much more clear to myself what I wanted to do, because I was very in between with everything. I was practicing everything instead of just focusing on one thing, and I was still in Berlin instead of going somewhere else and just cutting off the professional life for a little bit. So I think if I had to do it all over again, I would have been much more clear on what I wanted to do, or just continue playing. But I would have probably preferred to continue playing, because I think after seeing these 7 weeks and how other AD carries were struggling so much in picking up the other stuff, I think it would have been more than fine if I did it as well.
I mean, was it frustrating for you not to go on stage? Because even though you took your time off and you decided to go back, to go outside of the LCS, well, I mean, was it frustrating for you to stay on the side for such a long time? Because you're staying in Berlin nonetheless.
It was actually pretty fine, because I don't think regular season games of LCS is something that I long for or I dream of when I go to bed at night. So I would have been much more stressed out, I think, if it was playoffs or worlds, which is still something I might be able to take part of. But it still kind of sucked. I think if I was here in the studio, at least, I would have been able to take part more, but I wasn't even here in the studio, so it was very frustrating when they were making mistakes, and it was kind of weird when I was jumping on my own in the room watching the games rather than being with the team and doing it together with them. So there was a lot of things I could have done better, but in the end, now I'm back, and we're still aiming for the trophy. Nothing different from Spring Split.
And do you feel like you belong to the team again?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, since I never left, I was never really cut off from the guys. I think everyone was completely fine with me playing today. I don't think there's any hard feeling whatsoever. Just as how I will be fine if someone else plays tomorrow or the next week or even in playoffs. So I think we're just a group of 6 guys now, and everyone's willing to take the backseat if it's for the greater good, basically.
And I'm really glad to hear that. Now, you were saying you were not happy with your performance today, although you got player of the game. So what do you think about this?
I think Twitter is probably rigged, and it's not really fair, because we had an Akali smurfing, and we had a Pyke smurfing, and an Elise and an Ornn. So I don't know. I would have probably given it to Caps, but yeah, I did my job, so I can't really complain too much. I just wish I had a little bit more power and didn't think twice about everything so much.
Humble, as always. Thank you for joining me today, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
We're gonna take it away, and in the short break, but when we come back, it's gonna be the last match of the day, Schalke 04 versus Vitality. Don't go anywhere.
We were just picking words out of a hat. As we all are. Broxah with the flash cocoon straight onto Betsy. Caps gets the kill. Teleport's coming in from Giants here. It's only Ruin, and he is not going to be able to save Djoko for that long. Djoko flashes back in. The explosive cast knocks him away. Broxah. Fnatic are going to be able to escape. Caps, what are you doing? Well, that's a little bit into Steeelback. Second does not. Djoko can't.
There we go.
Dive in from Caps once again, straight into the Shroud. And now Ruin's running for the hills because Bwipo's on the chase. The Bellows read the double shutdown. He's looking for a third as well. Steeelback chasing onto Rekkles. Hylissang kills Betsy, but it's AD versus AD. Can't quite land the drowned gods, but this is a death knell. The return of Rekkles ends up in victory. And Fnatic are going to take top spot with Misfits at the top of the EU LCS table.